Hey guys, James here from TCGU University, coming back at you with another deck profile. Today I'm going to be showing you my Sophitia deck. I played her during the campus championship, so make sure to check that out to see how the deck was in action. And let's get into this, guys. Okay guys, Sophitia is a 6/28 with Earth, Life, and Order. She has two abilities, R, check a 4, after an attack is blocked, yours or your opponent's. You can commit one of your opponent's foundations, you get to choose. And then E, this attack gets +2 or -2 speed. If it deals less than its printed damage, you get to commit one of your opponent's foundations. Also, either your or your opponent's attack, and you get to choose on the foundation. She's really strong at being very defensive when she needs to be. She slows your opponent down because you can damage mitigate into committing all their foundations, as well as just blocking, half blocking, getting to commit something, then getting to commit something else because they dealt less than half. They did less damage. So like you get to really control your opponent into a very defensive game. So the game plan of this deck, because I don't like building regular decks, I think they're not as fun because just anybody can build a regular deck, is 4 Shintenketsu. Shintenketsus are a cool card for the deck. We'll get to the second cool card next. Shintenketsu's a 4/5 with a 2 mid block. Enhance, reduce this attack's damage to 0. Your next non-throw attack this turn gets +X damage. X equals double this attack's printed damage. This card's really, really cool, especially with the card we're playing it with, which is Ultimate Atomic Buster. We're going to actually move Sophitia here so we can see her, just so that way people always know what it is. Ultimate Atomic Buster. Ultimate Atomic Buster is a 6/2. Has throw. It's a 2 mid for 8 with a no block. The damage of the attack cannot be reduced below printed. So Shintenketsu attempts to reduce it to 0, is unable to, but can still resolve the other part of the ability, which is my next non-throw attack gets +X damage, where X is its printed damage. So I can give my next attack +16 damage off of my Atomic Buster, which is really, really cool. Which is how the deck's supposed to play, is basically commit you out on defense, force you to block my 2 mid for 8, and hit you with something with +16 damage. Then the other ability is E, or its actual ability is E, discard momentum. Your opponent discards 1 card, commit 1 foundation, and discards 1 momentum. And then you get to draw a card. This just basically says rip a card from your opponent's hand, commit 1 more of their foundations, discard momentum so you don't have to worry about them blowing you out next turn, and then you get to draw a card to replace itself. I think this card's actually slightly highly underrated. It's a 6/2 with a no block, but that ability is very, very strong. It could, in my opinion, could see a couple more playing a few other styles of decks. So now on to the targets for our Shintenketsu to give their damage to. First off, I guess we'll talk about the next card, which is all of our attacks have a lot of damage. So we're also playing 3 Strongest Style. I'm going to go ahead and do Shintenketsu up here. 3 Strongest Style. Strongest Style is a 2/4 with a 3 mid block with Breaker 3 on it with Taunt, the best keyword in the game. E, remove. Both players discard the top 4 cards of their deck. The player that discarded the attack with the highest printed damage may add that card to their hand. If it's a tie, both players reveal their hands, and that's basically it. But basically, we play an 8 damage attack. The next card we're talking about has 10 damage on it. We're likely to mill the highest damage attack out of both our opponents and ourselves. So getting to pick up a free card is really nice. And if not, having a cool Breaker 3 is also very good. Okay, so now on to the targets for our Shintenketsu. We got 4 Overhead Heel Crush. It's a 6/3 with a 3 high block. That is a 5 high for 10. Has no other abilities. It's just a 5 high for 10. This thing, when using it with Shintenketsu and dropping this to 0, gives +20 damage to our next attack. That is nuts. If your opponent has no cards in hand, that just means you're dropping a 20 some odd damage on them for practically free. It's not free. It's definitely not free. The playing this cost now is actually a lot more rougher than I thought it was going to be. But +20 damage on something is super, super cool. Fortunately, it can't be a throw, but there's a lot of cool things we can work with. Next, we have 3 Dark Cherrytoe. Dark Cherrytoe is a 6/3, 2 high block, 4 low for 6, so it gives 12 damage with Shintenketsu. But the main reason we're playing it is, while it's in the card pool, your opponent cannot play abilities that could reduce the damage of your attacks or cause cards to leave your card pool. So this just protects our attacks from getting discarded and protects our attacks from getting like reset or damage reduced. making sure that when we did Shiden Ketsu, they weren't allowed to stop us outside of just blocking. And then the last attack, besides the card we're going to talk about last, because I wish I took it out beforehand, is 3 Brutality. It's a 3 diff, 3 control, 3 mid block, 3 mid for 3, breaker 3, with a stack that says its damage cannot be reduced by your opponent's effects, meaning you can give it the damage off of Shinten Ketsu from another attack, and your opponent's not allowed to reduce its damage. There are more throws in this deck, and it became relevant at one point or another. But it has a response that says, after you play this attack, if your opponent is at 3 or less of Vitality, the attack becomes unblockable and gains Flash. This card's really neat. It just forces your opponent to always watch out to never be below 3 damage, as well as just kind of puts you in a position where if your opponent doesn't have a good mid block and you give a bunch of damage, they're not allowed to damage reduction this, which is also very cool. Because we play a lot of things that may end up just going on momentum. We have 2 Dark Tournament Looms. It's a 1/5 with a 2 mid block. Enhance remove, add 1 card from momentum to your hand, and then draw a card. So it replaces ourselves and gives us another attack. Pretty neat. We play a bunch of 6 diffs. So 4 Arcane Assassin. It's a 3/6 with 3 high block. Respond, remove. After you make a check to play a printed 6 difficulty card, your check gets +3. This just says either we check well, or if we check bad, we check okay. This was just protect us from checking bad on our attacks, especially when they're 6 diffs. Again, it's kind of the same theory. 4 Folktale Storyteller. It's a 2/5 with a 2 low block. We mainly use it for the respond card pool. Discard the top 3 cards of your deck. After you play this card, if you have 2 or more foundations, add it to your staging area. This card just basically says build more when we're going to play our attacks on our own turn. And then if not, we can play it to build more on our opponent's turn while blocking and getting to do Sophitia things. We want our big attacks to go through with Shinten Ketsu. So we're playing 3 1 with Nature. It's a 2/5 with a 3 low block. Enhance, discard 1 card. Your opponent's block modifier to block this attack gets +2. It's basically a pseudo +2 speed on top of Sophitia's +2 speed. And then respond once per enhanced step. After you discard a card, you can give +1 damage to stuff. It's pretty good. Helps our push our attacks through. We have 4 Overly Dramatic for the same reason as Dark Chirito. It's a 2/5 with a 3 mid block that says our opponent's not allowed to reduce the damage of our attacks, as well as not let it tells our opponent they're not allowed to go to deadlock, or we're just going to start picking up pieces to kill them with. We got 4 Second Saintly Beast. This is on the same realm of 1 with Nature. It's a 2/5 with a 3 high block with Breaker 1. Enhance once per turn. Discard the top 3 cards of your deck. This attack gets +2 or -2 speed. It's a really cool speed buff that goes on top of Sophitia, on top of 1 with Nature, and just helps us push through our big attacks. We got 4 Toughest Pumpkin Junior High. It's a 2/5 with a 3 mid block. Respond, flip. Before you take damage from an attack, reduce the damage you would take by 3. This works with Sophitia because she says if your opponent's attack deals less than printed and we reduce the damage we would take, meaning it deals less than that amount. So just trigger Sophitia for us for free if we're not in a position where the attack has a billion damage on it. Same thing with kind of like with our Immoral Knowledge. It's a 1/5 with a 3 mid block. Enhance once per turn. This attack is +1 or -1 damage. This just says if our opponent's not going to buff the damage of their attack, we can give it -1 damage and make sure that we're going to trigger Sophitia, especially if we're not going to block it. We got 2 Protecting the Protector to protect our foundations. It's a 1/5 with a 2 high block. Respond, discard momentum. After your opponent plays an ability that commits, destroys, flips, removes, or seals one of your cards, cancel its effects. This works on everything from Stop and Bang to things like Hunt for Spiders, Toguro Brothers, stuff like that. Just protects our foundations, protects our character, protects our attacks from just stuff that would stop us. 4 Voices in the Dark, kind of same reason as Immoral Knowledge. It's a 1/5 with a 4 low block, so you'll never block with it. But enhance, flip 1 foundation. This attack gets -1 damage. This just says we can make sure Sophitia triggers, especially if we don't get the chance to block. We play a bunch of 6 diffs, so Hell's Reach. This is the last card of our deck. That's not the last card I'm going to talk about. It's a 0. It's the second last card. It's a 0/5 with a 3 mid block. Enhance flip, ready this foundation, play well committed. This just says if we have to overcommit for a 6th if, we can ready it to have another face down, have another foundation to make sure we get to pass more cards. And the last card I'm going to talk about in our deck was I played 4 Vicious Madness. It's a 5/3, 4 mid for 8 with a 3 low block. Desperation 4, throw. You can lose 2 vitality. Your opponent's not allowed to partial block. I found this card to be a little underwhelming. It did some stuff for some games, but most of the time, I just felt like this card didn't have enough presence. And it wasn't able to get the damage from Shintenketsu. So it was basically either a fodder card that you use with Shintenketsu to give a lot of damage to something else, and then your opponent never really had to worry about this one, or it ended up being a card where I almost threw it away just to try and draw other things. The reason I chose it was I wanted another target to deal damage that wasn't just Atomic Buster, but it ended up being a bad card in the deck because Atomic Buster does some good work because Shintenketsu can drop it and it still keeps its 8 damage because it can't be reduced, where this one loses all 8 of its damage. So I'm not allowed to play Shintenketsu on this card unless I know I'm completely giving up one card and that the card that gets the damage from Shintenketsu is going to be able to do something. Thanks again for checking out the profile, guys. If you liked it, make sure to let me know down below. If you want to support us, go to patreon.com/TCGU University. And as always, guys, stay alert.